I think it's muted.
Please forgive me, we don't hear.
Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumara
Yes, thank you.
Govindaya Namaha. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Huh? Yes,
We hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So, Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Vishwaram. Today we are being instructed to speak on the life of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and as one of the 6 Goswamis, Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghu Yugau Sri Jiva Gopalaka, as Srinivas Acharya sang that bhajan on the 6 Goswamis. So, in fact, Srinivas Acharya is also a disciple of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who wrote the Shad Goswami Ashtaka. And here we are to discuss some drops from the life of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Srila Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, 10th chapter, verse 105. Of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is writing and Prabhupada is commenting on it. Shri Gopala Bhatta Ekashaka Sarvottama Rupa Sanatana Sange Yara Prema Alapana. Shri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, the 47th branch, was one of the great and exalted branches of the tree. He always engaged in discourses about love of Godhead in the company of Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis. So Prabhupada recounts a short history of life of Gopal Bhatta Goswami in this purport to this verse. So he is son of Venkata Bhatta. He was a resident of Sri Rangam, which is from the southern part of India. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami belonged to a family from the disciplic succession of Ramanujacharya. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took to his walking tour throughout South India, he also visited this place called Sri Rangam. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Sri Rangam around 1511. And I suppose Gopal Bhatta Goswami was born around 1503 1503. So he was probably around 7-8 years when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Sri Rangam. Bhatta Goswami was around 7 or 8 years. And even at that very young age, he was very much influenced by the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is said that he would assist Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the worship, and he would also bring water and other such items necessary for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he would also receive the Mahaprasad of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was very much attached to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was in Sri Rangam. Also, even if you go to Sri Rangam today, there is a temple in which Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra deities that were personally carved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is being worshipped opposite to the house of Gopal Bhatta Goswami even today. So the ancestral home of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami is still there in Sri Rangam, and his descendants, in the family descendants, because he had other uncles and others who had children. So the family is still worshipping Ranganatha Swami. Like Murali Bhatta is one of from the same family of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He is one of the main worshippers even today in Sri Rangam. And when you visit, they actually show around the room in which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed, the space in which he used, all of which is there. And opposite to their homes, just across the road, there is a temple of Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramaya. And it is said that those deities were personally carved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he was in Sri Rangam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed there for 4 months during the Chaturmasi period. Because he stayed in one place 4 months continuously, he had a deity card of Lord Jagannath. He had just moved to Jagannath Puri, and immediately after sannyas, after his move to Jagannath Puri, very soon he left for the South India Yatra. So he was missing the presence of Jagannath, and Jagannath's mood is also viraha, means Lord Jagannath is in the mood of separation from Srimati Radharani, so and Vrindavan. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also always in the mood of separation from Krishna. So during his travels through South India, he was experiencing that separation from Lord Jagannath. So he again carved the deities of Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and he was worshipping them while residing at the home of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami, as a young child, was assisting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his worship and in his personal care, receiving such intimate association, service to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his remnants and blessings and empowerment. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was extremely fortunate. And even at that young age, he had resolved to give up everything and go along with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his assistant. He did not wanted to stay home anymore. And here we are speaking about a 7 or 8-year-old child, not like older than that. He was born in 1503, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited around he left Jagannath Puri in the summer of 1510. So he was in South India around 1511. So hardly 8 years old boy. And he wanted to give up everything and wanted to follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and be his assistant and serve him for the rest of his life. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned to him that since your parents are elderly, please stay home. As long as your parents are in this world, take care of them, serve them nicely. And after they depart this world, you can actually go to Vrindavan. This was the instruction that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Gopal Bhatta Goswami when he was 7 or 8 years old. They usually say, when children are young, they're very cute, they're very devoted, they're very devotional. They will sing Narsingh Arati and they will sing Hare Krishna And they're very sweet and cute when they are like around 7, 8, until they're 12. And as they become teenagers, not everyone, but many might change. So there is instructions received by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Gopal Bhatta Goswami when he was just like 7 or 8 years old. It remained in his heart. And only at the age of 30, that's almost like 22 years after he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's when his parents actually passed away, and he finished all his obligations and duties to his parents, and it was time for him to actually retire back to Vrindavan. And only at around the age of 30, he reached Vrindavan. So that is towards the end of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only lived for 24 years in Jagannath Puri. So 22 years, it took him 22 years to actually go back to Vrindavan from the time he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So almost towards the end of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, that's when he could actually go to Vrindavan, retire from Srirangam and the duties that he had towards his parents. He moved to Vrindavan. When he moved to Vrindavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was informed that Gopal Bhatta Goswami has arrived in Vrindavan and has taken shelter of Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis. And Rupa and Sanatan Goswami treated him like their younger brother because they were elder to him. He was quite younger to them, to both of them. So they treated him like a younger brother, and the message was passed on to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Gopal Bhatta Goswami has come to Vrindavan. And hearing that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was extremely happy. He said, finally, Gopal Bhatta achieved the shelter of Rupa and Sanatan and Sri Vrindavan Dham. He was extremely happy. And to bless Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he sent his personal asana in which he used to sit and also his upper cloth. So asana is usually a very significant gift because it is usually said asana is given to anyone whom the first acharya appoints as a follower. So he gave the asana to Gopal Bhatta Goswami and also his upper cloth as a gift he sent. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, having a background from Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya in Sri Rangam, was very erudite, was very well learned in Sanskrit, and was also very strictly trained in practicing rules and regulations of worship, Archana, because Sri Vaishnavas are very particular about their standards of worship and are also known for very strict and high standards and background in Sanskrit and philosophy. So he was very well trained in philosophy, Sanskrit, process of worship, and also the strict rules and regulations, because he was also born in a Brahmana family. His family was directly worshipping Ranganatha Swami in Sri Rangam. Sri Rangam is one of the biggest temple complexes in the world. The biggest temple complex in the world, active temple complex in the world. Angkor Wat in Cambodia is also a Vishnu temple. However, it's not actively worshipped. So if you consider in terms of an actively worshipped Vishnu temple complex, then Srirangam is the largest temple complex, and literally a whole city lives within the temple complex. So his family was worshipping the deity of that temple. So you can imagine the standards and the strictness and the scholarship that he had, and being pleased with Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami sincere service and devotion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually initiated him, in the sense ordered him to go to Vrindavan. But in other places it is also said that he is initiated by Prabodhananda Saraswati, who is also his uncle. So two great personalities from the same family moved to Vrindavan and became the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, having a background of Sri Sampradaya. And it is said that Some places it is said Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave his initiation when he was a young child, which is possible. And it is also said Prabodhananda Saraswati gave him initiation. It could be sannyas like Babaji initiation, sannyasi initiation, like that. But they both are ascribed to initiating Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared, very soon after Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami moved to Vrindavan, he was experiencing intense separation. He did not get the opportunity to have the darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Sri Rangam, which was 22 years before, when he was a young child, at 7 or 8 years old. He did not get to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after that. So he was experiencing intense separation, that soon after his move to Vrindavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had passed away. He wanted to go take darshan, but before that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had disappeared. So he felt intense separation from the Lord. To relieve his devotee of that intense separation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the dream of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And in the dream, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him, if you want my darshan, please make a trip to Nepal. And it can be weird, because why would Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu be in Nepal? But still, the dream was very vivid. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami took a trip to Nepal. He was living in Vrindavan, but he went all the way to Nepal. Not like a short distance or anything. It takes quite a while. In Nepal, Gopal Bhatta Goswami bathed in the famous Gandaki River. So Gandaki River is famous for as the place where all the Shalagram Shilas naturally appear. So he went. He took a dip in the Gandaki River, and he was filling his water pot in the river, and he was surprised to see that several Shalagram Shilas actually had come into his water pot. So he thought this is by mistake. So he didn't want those Shilas, because you need to worship the Shila. Like how if anyone gets a Giriraj Shila from Sri Giriraj Govardhanji, then you have to worship Girirajji. You can't just like keep, they are not like any stones that we collect like memorabilia. You need to worship them. They're not different from Krishna. Girirajji is also is worshipped as a devotee of, depending on the devotee's mood, is worshipped. You have to offer boga and take care of them. So here, Shalagram Shilas are also considered as self-manifested deities. They need not be installed. Like we also have a Shalagram Shila on our altar, Varaha Narsimha Dev. So they need to be worshipped, and they are self-manifested. They do not need any installation. So knowing the seriousness of Shalagram Shilas, he being a reclusive saint, he thought, I do not need those Shilas, but I won't be able to worship. So he dropped them back into the waters of the Gandaki River. And again he took a dip, and he filled his water pot. And again he saw the Shilas that filled his water pot. Again he dropped them. So this continued a few times. And then he actually realized this is Lord's desire. Otherwise, there is no point that he's just filling water. The Shila shouldn't be coming, actually, should not be there that easily into the pot. And after a few times, he realizes this is the desire of the Lord. So he brings 12 Shalagram Shilas back from his trip to Nepal. And in one way, this was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. And he could see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically instructed me and has offered me these 12 Shilas. So he was worshipping them very sincerely. And his way of worshipping the Shalagram Shila was his association with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So his separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it as an intimate service when he was worshipping those Shalagram Shilas, because they were the result of the personal instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to alleviate his separation. So his worship to the Shalagram Shilas was extremely dedicated, pure, sincere, and serious. And when he was worshipping these Shalagram Shilas like this for some time, a wealthy businessman comes to Vrindavan and offers garments, various valuable garments, and valuable ornaments to all the Goswamis of Vrindavan. And he comes to Gopal Bhatta Goswami and offers valuable garments and these ornaments. However, all his Shalagram Shilas are like round Shilas. So he was unable to use any of the paraphernalia that was gifted to him. So in his mind, he thought, oh, these are all just round Shilas, I won't be able to use them. So he actually advises the donor to give these deity decorations to someone else. At the same time, he also receives some, and he thinks, and it is the time of Narsingha Chaturdasi. And on the day of Narsingha Chaturdasi, he was meditating how the Supreme Lord appeared from a pillar in the form of a half man, half lion form. He manifested from a pillar in Hiranyakashipu's palace. So he also prayed to the Lord that you are very merciful and you always fulfill the desires of your devotees. I wish to serve you in your full form. However, I only have got these Shalagram Shilas by your mercy. And these donations have come, and it would be nice if I could actually worship you in your full form. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he offers his prayers to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is said, then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, was pleased by his prayer. And the next day, when Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, that night he put his Shalagram Shilas to rest. And the next morning he woke up, he went to Yamunaji, Mother Yamuna in Vrindavan. He took his bath and he was back for his worship of the Shalagram Shilas. And when he opened his curtains, that's when he realized that one of his Shila, the Damodar Shila, had actually transformed and manifested into the beautiful form of the threefold bending form of Sri Radharamanji. And his prayers were answered by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is said Sri Radharamanji is a direct mercy manifestation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his blessings to Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And today, till date, Sri Radharamanji does not have a Radharani deity separately. And it is said that Radharani is present within the heart of Sri Radharamanji. So that's why his name is Radharaman. And also is considered as a manifestation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a combination of Radha and Krishna. So Sri Radharamanji is considered as, yes, Krishna, deity of Krishna, and also is considered as Radharani is manifested in his heart. And because Radharani is manifested within his heart, he is also considered as a form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a combination of Radha and Krishna. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami was very happy to take darshan of Radharamanji, and the news went all around Vrindavan. Everybody was very excited, and the news went to Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis and all the other Goswamis. So they all went and took darshan of Radharamanji, and they were extremely happy, and they were all impressed by the devotion of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, that answering his prayers, the Lord has self-manifested himself from a Shalagram Shila. And even today you can see Radharamanji's body is not like any other Shila, is not made from any marble or any other kind of stone. His form is Shalagram Shila form. And you usually don't see that big of a Shalagram Shila, that tall of a Shalagram Shila. Usually Shalagram Shilas are small and round. Radharamanji is still very smaller in size compared to other deities. He's very thin and he's very slender and he's very short and small. Still, his form is made of Shalagram Shilas. It's not curved. He's extremely smooth, you can see is not like carved out of any deity or anything like that, stone or anything like that. And also his hands, the holes in the hands are so fine, they can't even actually put a flute through. They keep the flute on the side. And he is one deity who had not moved out of Vrindavan at any time, even during the attacks of the Mughals on Vrindavan during the medieval times. Vrindavan was repeatedly attacked by various Mughal rulers because they did not believe in deity worship. They hated deity worship to their core. So they attacked Vrindavan many times. They dismantled so many temples, attacked Vaishnavas, killed a lot of Vaishnavas, and removed, destructed temples, deities. So many of the temple Sevites, the servitors of the deities, out of fear, they just moved the deities to various other provinces in India. That's why you will see many of the Vrindavan deities, either their original murtis are still in Vrindavan, still in Rajasthan, in various parts of Rajasthan, or they were moved back to Vrindavan and the Pratibhu Murti is being worshipped in Rajasthan. The Srinathji, the lifter of Govardhan Hill, he is there in near Udaipur. He is there in that place, Nathdwara. And also Madan Mohanji is in Karoli and Govindaji is in Jaipur. So many of the important deities of Gaudiya Sampradaya, they are all still in, most of them are still in Vrindavan. It's only Damodar ji, Radha Damodar ji who were brought back to Vrindavan. And Radharamanji never left Vrindavan. He was always here in Vrindavan because he was smaller, so he was easy to hide. And the standards of worship of Radharamanji is also considered very high. Having Gopal Bhatta Goswami being from a deity worship background, he installed strong rules and regulations, and the worship of Radharamanji is considered the highest among all worship in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Even today, his decorations and his ornaments and his worship is very famous, and his dressings are also quite unique, mischievous, funny, or like very sweet kind of. He wears little kopins in summer. He wears very bright colors. He wears specs. He wears watches. It's like they really worship him with a lot of fun and love, and very cute to actually see his darshan. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami is also known as Guna Manjari, and Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that he's also known as Ananga Manjari, but in some other places he is also mentioned as Guna Manjari. Gopal Bhatta Goswami resided for 45 years in Vrindavan, and out of great humility, he also outlived Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis. So he lived a long time along with Jiva Goswami and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and all of them. And it is said that when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami went to beg blessings for writing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, he offered his blessings and told him, please, I will give all my blessings to you, but you have to promise one thing. And Gopal, and when he was requested, what is, yes, I promise, what is that? He said, please do not mention my name in this book. And this is going to be the magnum opus, a biography of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And anybody would die to be mentioned in that. And here Gopal Bhatta Goswami, being such one of the intimate associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, carrying out his mission and supporting his mission and propagating his mission in so many ways, has dedicated his life to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu completely. He has dedicated his life to the worship of Radharamanji completely. And he was a great scholar. Even Jiva Goswami says in his introduction to Tattva Sandarbha that a devotee from South India, born in a Brahmana family, he actually compiled a lot of notes, but he did not actually chronologically order them. So I'm just doing that work. He ascribes indirectly the scholarship of Tattva Sandarbha and even Bhakti Sandarbhas to the initial work, the groundwork was done as he ascribes it to Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So that is how scholarly he was, and that is how detached he was also. And he wanted his name not to be mentioned in Kaviraja Goswami's work of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. In order to respect him, Kaviraja Goswami only just mentions his name once or twice. The verse that we read, he says, Shri Gopala Bhatta Shaka Sarvottama Rupa Sanatana Sangayara Prema Alapa. That Gopal Bhatta Goswami, the 47th branch was one of the great and exalted branches of the tree. He always engaged in discourses about love of God in the company of Sri, Rupa, and Sanatan Goswamis. So this is one of the one or two places that he mentions his name out of because of his love and the promise that he made. He did not mention, but we do hear about the life of Gopal Bhatta Goswami from Bhakti Ratnakar, and so in this way we see how a sincere, serious devotee like Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who has completely dedicated his life to the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, did not aspire for recognition. He did not have any insecurity. Will the world ever know that someone like me existed? So they were completely satisfied that their service was received by Radha and Krishna. They did not bother to leave an empire behind or leave their names behind, or they were not concerned, will the world worship me after hundreds of years? As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, a devotee is the most famous person because they were pure devotees. Even today, after 600 years, 500 years, their names are being continued to remembered and worshipped. So we pray at the lotus feet of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami that we understand that the essence of life is to engage our energy in the service of Shri Radha and Muralidhar for their pleasure and the pleasure of Sri Gaurchandra and Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas, and not hanker for Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says it's like the urine of a donkey, but it is too like I am too attached to such things. So we offer our prayers at the feet of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami that we can be detached from this strong tendency to be recognized, to be known as someone. I want to leave that people should know that so and such existed, and the insecurity that others might not know what I did or what I wanted to do, etc. So we see in the life of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami that he was completely free from such insecurities because he was fully situated at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we like beg this blessing that we can completely absorb in the mood of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, worshipping the lotus feet of Shri Natai Gaurachandra, and dedicate our lives for their mission and receive their mercy. And Radha and Krishna is attained through the mercy of Shri Natai Gaurachandra. So with these, I ask for any of you would like to share anything, would like to. Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anand Bihari Prabhu. Hare Krishna, I hope I was audible.
Hare Krishna Gaur Sharan Prabhu. Thank you. Yes, the class was wonderful, clear. Thank you very much. Krishna Daya Prabhu is raising his hand.
Okay. Please know I am not able to look at the screen, so please unmute yourself. Krishna Daya Prabhu.
Thank you, Garshan, for the wonderful class and some details about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Just a finer detail I want to maybe hear from you again about the deity of Shri Radharamanji. So it seems, if I recollect, there are all the three aspects of some prominent moods in. So can you just elaborate on that? Sambandha Vidya Prayoj or something.
Yeah, it is said that he also manifests, he's also a combination of the deity of Madan Mohanji, who is the Sambandha Murti, worshipped by Sanatan Goswami, who is Sambandhacharya, Shri Radha Madan Mohans, and also Shri Govindaji, Radha Govindaji, and Radha Gopinathji, who are all Murtis of Abhideya and Prayojana Murtis. So it is said Radha Ramanji is a combination of all the three. His lotus feet looks like, resembles the lotus feet of Shri Radha Madan Mohanji, and his navel resembles Shri Radha Govindaji, and his beautiful face resembles, the smile resembles Radha Gopinathji. And in that way, he is considered as a combination of all three murtis in one form, that he represents that all Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana in one form. And also, as we saw, that Radha and Krishna combination, and also considered as the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in that sense, he's like, you get all the deals in one place. So Radharamanji is that small, cute little deity who's one of the prominent forms of Gaudiya Sampradaya, embodying all that philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And the deep mood of love and separation is also embodied in Sri Radharamanji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah.
Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, were you showing Radha Ramanji earlier? Jai. What a beautiful deity. Gaurashan Prabhu can't see it, but Radha Ramanji is in his heart.
Thank you. By your blessings. Is there anything anyone wants to add? Or should I continue?
How what's the name of today's saint? I forget. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, did he switch sampradayas? Is that?
Yes, he was born in the family who also practiced Sri Sampradaya. In fact, they were one of the main worshippers of Sri Ranganath. So he was fully in the Sri Sampradaya. By the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his father was convinced of worshipping Radha and Krishna. And of course, his parents also took to that mood by the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His uncle Prabodhananda Saraswati also took on that mood. To that extent, Prabodhananda Saraswati is a Lord Chaitanya fanatic and Vrindavan fanatic. So, in that mood, Gopal Bhatta Goswami has started worshipping Radha and Krishna. He always was respectful of the tradition he came from. However, he shifted from Sri Chaitanya, Sri Sampradaya, and to fully practicing and propagating the tattva of as established by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Thank you, Gaurashan Prabhu. And when we talk about people who have very strong affiliation with Christianity, for example, and then they start saying things like, you guys aren't really worshiping right, and the Christianity has all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
How do we remain respectful, and how do we shift the conversation towards finding something in common rather than entering a philosophical debate with them? How to avoid those things, and in general, how do we look at other sampradayas and other faiths, especially when the person is very eager to share their truth with us? Do we go like, come on, Prabhuji, I already know all that and I know so much more, and listen to me? How do we avoid that? And what's the mood that a Vaishnava has when those situations arise?
There will always be Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama in every tradition, every sampradaya, every religion. And the sign of a Kanishta is that they don't understand the situation of the person on the other side that they're trying to speak. So the sign of a Madhyama is that he knows who to preach to and who not to preach to. Like if you see Prabhupada, when he met any priest or any father or bishops, he usually spoke and inspired them to practice Christianity or Judaism better. He usually asked them to be better Christians and better followers of Lord Jesus. He would not tell them that to chant Hare Krishna in his conversations. Usually he would tell them, become a better follower of your own religion. However, when he met people who might have born in Christianity, but if they are not actively practicing, he always suggested them to chant Hare Krishna and take up this. But if they had any reservation, if they said, "Oh, I was born in Christianity and why should I take to this?" Okay, better be a better Christian. So that's a sign of course, Prabhupada is not just any Madhyamadhikari, but it is considered as a sign of a Madhyamadhikari that he knows he can differentiate. So when one needs to convince the other person and one when needs to actually encourage them in their own path. So if we are speaking to a Kanishta from another tradition, we need to understand and just let go.
So, in other words, we don't have to convert every person we meet on our path into Hare Krishna.
I didn't see Prabhupada doing that.
Yeah. And when they are actively trying to convince us and drag us into their realm of belief, how do we what are the good lines that we can come up with?
There is no alternative to a strong faith. I cannot give any checklist to anyone to actually keep it next to them and to be able to defend. One needs to develop a strong faith. So there is no alternative to it. So strong faith does not always come in terms of debate and arguing back and convincing. So you can let dogs bark. Like I'm just using the word to say, you can just test. Anyone can tell anything, but you need to be clear what you're practicing. As long as you are very clear, you don't need to bother what others are saying. You can be nice to them. You can be encouraging to them. If you understand they are immature, no need to bother. Like just be nice to them and tolerate. It depends on the situation and the person and how they are doing. So if they're being like very arrogant or if they're being that's a sign of a Madhyama, that you know who's envious, who's interested, who's innocent.
Thank you, Gaur Prabhu. Dear devotees, we are about to be seen by the beautiful Sri Sri Radha Muralidhar Sri Guru Chandra. Please turn on your cameras if you can, just for the darshan. Jai Shri Sri Radha Muralidhar. Hare Krishna. See, it's all in Krishna's hands. It's all in Krishna's hands, darshan included. Dear devotees, thank you for your association. Sundarananda Prabhu, what's that outfit? It's very fancy. We lost Sundarananda. Would anyone like to add anything? Isaiah, are you due for a haircut? No, not yet? Okay. Okay. Would anyone like to ask a question? Share a reflection?
Well, I'll ask a question to you, Prabhu, right? Because there is Sharan is left.
Nityananda Chandra Prabhu is the next in Sampradaya, but maybe we can answer collectively.
Yeah, I was just meditating on the importance of actively seeking to kind of erase oneself in terms of seeking credit. Like how he didn't want to be mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but the relationship of erasing ourselves and our spiritual practice, I was thinking about the aspects of viewing ourselves as a servant, but then also, kind of minimizing our ego makes us more capable of serving the Lord. But just was kind of curious what other meditations anybody had on that sort of self-effacing quality of like real humility.
Thank you, Venumadhuri. Great question. I can think of Srila Prabhupada. Everybody knows Hare Krishna, but not everybody knows.
Yeah, that's a
Prabhupada.
really good
So
one.
that's one example of that. When it's done in true, genuine humility.
Mm-hmm.
Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, have any other thoughts on this?
Hi,
You're muted.
hi, Krishna Prabhu. Can you hear it? Okay. I'm recently reading Mana Shiksha, Raghunath Das Goswami's book. Very, very. The first verse is saying always practice humility, but each verse goes deeper and deeper. They're basically prayers or instructions to the mind, and one of them is they give also very strong illustrations, like metaphors of. One of them is like the desire to be praised is like a dead dog, and the desire to want to get that praise is like eating a dead dog. So nasty. And so he gives a lot of it's a padati, so each one is getting deeper and deeper in eradicating pride, because pride is like it goes against bhakti. Like, for example, if you go to a thrift store and you buy something for $5, or you buy something for $20, but then later on you find out that it was worth $1, you'll feel upset, like, wait, I deserved better than this. But if you go to the thrift store, you buy something for $20, you find out it was worth $500. And it's like, wow, I got so much more than I deserve. It's like, when you deserve it, when you feel like I deserve it, like, Chiang Mai cooks a nice dinner, and then you're like, whoa, she should, because I'm great. then you're not going to even be able to enjoy it. But if you feel like, no, this is undeserved. So as soon as there's pride, it goes against devotion. And so in Brihad Bhagavatam Rita, humility is considered synonymous with with bhakti. And so, Raghunath Das Goswami goes through all these really, really nice metaphors. Another one is we have the 6 enemies: lust, anger, and greed. These are like highway robbers, and they've got us by the neck. But the funny thing is that, like, we've actually hired these robbers to rob us because it's like our desire. So we've been like, and we're catfished. We think this is my friend. If I don't have lust, then I won't be inspired. If I don't have envy, then I won't work hard. I won't do anything. If I don't have greed, I won't be productive. And we are thinking that these are things that are very valuable. I need these things. We're just being catfished by a bunch of robbers and thieves that we think that they're our friends, but actually they're not at all helpful.
Great analogy. There are also examples of devotees who include their name in their bhajans, for example. Bhaktivinoda Thakur does that in his bhajans. There's poor Bhaktivinoda. So in that context. And then Narottam Das also included his name in the bhajans, right? So that's an example of a humble...
I recently, I heard Madhavananda, and you've heard this before, but he really made it kind of like clear the whole "hide your guru" quote, like why, and he said we should feel like not that I'm one of the best disciples, I'm the great disciple, I'm me and the guru, me and him, we're like locked in. Rather, I should feel like he's such a wonderful person, and who am I to even like claim to be connected? Who am I? Like, it's like someone saying, "Oh, I'm friends with this famous person." So in the same way, he's saying like we should be humble and feel like I shouldn't even pretend to be so close. And so that way, I kind of understood that message.
Yeah, that's Nityananda Chandra. He likes it? No? Okay. Okay, dear devotees, thank you very much for your association. Isaiah, Annabelle, Sage, and Sky, please unmute yourself and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as loudly as you can, please.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Good.
Sweet. Thank you very much. This is very uplifting. Hare Krishna, have a wonderful day. Ram, say have a wonderful day. We love you and we need you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
It's difficult.